my name is Jeff, and this is a 1996 Dodge Viper RT10, the raw 8-liter V10 powered roadster with absolutely zero nannies. Now, this car is not just any second-generation Dodge Viper. This car was previously owned by the president of the Dodge Viper Club of America, where he purchased the car new here in Phoenix, Arizona from Bell Dodge, and owned the car until 2022, where it was acquired by its current owner. Well, the car is now for sale. It features just over 19,000 original miles and was recently serviced by Viper guru Eddie Martin of Manheim Motorsports, also responsible for servicing Viper race cars. And now you can find the car up for auction on Bring a Trailer, where the car will be selling with no reserve as offered from Cascio Motors. And in this video, I'll take you through the exterior, the interior, the powertrain, and of course, we'll take it for a drive. Moving on, here are the keys to the Dodge Viper. There are two sets of keys included in the sale that look just like this. Chrysler badges, lock and unlock for the fob. Moving on to the car itself, in 1996, the Dodge Viper started at $58,000. For reference, for that money, you could buy 3 brand new Ford Mustang GTs instead of a Dodge Viper. And this car, because it was purchased by the president of the Dodge Viper Club of America, it could not be a base car. This car is equipped as around $65,000 with its options. Now, getting into the Viper, now this one is a second generation car and it's finished in stone white. The second generation was more so an update to the first generation, made to improve some of the livability or the streetability of the car with a lot of minor changes. The biggest change came in the form of the lack of side pipes now on the side of the car. And if we actually open the door here, the Dodge Viper features a tubular space frame chassis with a center spine structure. So they still had to route the exhaust around the side of the car. So we have this hot exhaust pipe in the door sill badge to warn us. And now the exhaust actually exits out the rear. And the result of this change actually reduced the back pressure in the system, and now the car made more power from its 8-liter V10, but we'll talk about that more in the engine section. Moving on to the exterior of this particular car, again finished in stone white. I believe the white and black cars could come with the racing stripes like what this one has. So blue racing stripes, again contrasted with some excellent blue in the interior. This awesome blue Viper badge with the snakeskin finish, which is very nice, in addition to some other blue changes on the exterior. The other thing is that the Vipers were actually constructed of a composite body, so they have this very smooth profile as well, and then that was fiber reinforced. In the front here, we do have some halogen headlights. Below that, we get our fog lights. And as we come around to the side of the car, we have our Viper aluminum 17-inch 5-spoke wheels, which are also Viper branded, finished in white with blue Viper center caps, and of course, Viper branded disc calipers as well for our disc brakes. Now, as we move down, we have Viper RT10 badging in blue with some pinstriping. We have the open top experience of the Viper, and this is where we get into some of our options. Now, the Dodge Viper had an optional factory body color double bubble hardtop, which this car is equipped with, will be included in the sale. There is also a black soft top that can be put on over top. There are some side windows. You also get a tonneau cover that can be snapped in. The back window over here can actually be removed or put in as needed. And we even have a rain cover, a car cover, and even a Viper front bra for the car, all of which will be included in the sale, in addition to lots of cool memorabilia because, of course, owned by the former president of the Dodge Viper Club of America. Very, very cool for a previous owner to include some extra stuff in the sale. As we come around to the rear here, this car is rear-wheel drive and it has no ABS, no traction control, and no stability control. So you have to have a lot of meat in the back here to actually help put the power down to the ground. These tires were replaced in 2022. And as you can see here, plenty of life left on them. And we have 335s in the back to help put that power down. Very cool. Fully independent suspension underneath. We mentioned that space frame earlier. Front and rear, of course, sway bars. You also have power steering and power brakes. There's just no ABS. Coming around to the back of the car here, you can see all the styling very similar to the first gen. Of course, now we have the center exit exhaust, Dodge badging, and of course, more of that cool snakeskin Viper and even Viper RT10 badging. So that's a quick look at the exterior of the Viper. Under the hood is a naturally aspirated Viper 8-liter V10 with dual throttle bodies, massive air filters, and that brand new stainless steel exhaust system that was introduced for the second generation and now exits out the rear, but produces an improved 415 horsepower and 480 pound-feet of torque according to the original dealer sticker or Moroni sheet, which will be included in the sale. This Viper V10 is paired with a 6-speed manual transmission with overdrive and a limited slip differential sending power to the rear wheels. The entire car weighs less than 3,500 pounds and should achieve 0 to 60 in just 4.5 seconds, a quarter mile in 12.9 seconds, with a top speed of 175 miles per hour. So this car is no slouch. The engine bay itself is beautiful to look at. Look at the bright red engine. Under this very well engineered front hinged hood, we have an embossed Viper logo. On the driver's side, we have the brake booster for our power brakes, our washer fluid reservoir because this is still a street car, and up front we have the power steering reservoir for our power steering. This car is even equipped with the optional $1,200 air conditioning unit to stay nice and cool on the inside, and you can see a lot of that machinery on the passenger side of the engine bay. Moving on to the interior, this particular car is finished in black, and as you'll see here, we have these black leather bucket seats, which are quite nicely bolstered both in the side and the bottom, and they are manually adjustable. The other cool thing is because this car is just over 19,000 original miles, look at the condition of everything. It is in fantastic shape. There are no wear marks on the seats, and that goes for the passenger seat as well. Moving into some of the details, we take a look at the door here, you'll note that the seat belts are actually integrated. We have some of the speakers for our premium audio system in the doors as well. If we take a look at the sill here, it's quite wide, and we have a heat warning because again that exhaust runs through here even though it doesn't exit here anymore, and it does get a bit hot after some driving. And over here on the side, we have a caution because this bar here in the center is not, in fact, a roll bar, but actually the connection for the tops and even the rear windows, and you need to drive carefully in your Dodge Viper. Now, getting into the Viper, we do have some Viper carpets in this car that look quite nice. And if we take a look at the front here, we have this nice blue leather wrapped steering wheel, which has nice grips here to drive the car. And we have more of that blue leather on the shifter for our 6-speed manual and even our parking brake. Now, the steering column itself, of course, does have turn signals, but you can also adjust it by pulling this tab here, and you can adjust the steering wheel as you need. So we can go ahead and drop that back down. And then we have our headlight controls along with our wiper controls. We have our main gauges here, which of course is going to be our tach and our speedometer, our mileage, and even the center display, which now has some check engine light notifications. As this car was a 1996, it was also updated with OBD2, so you could actually use the scan tool in this car to beat the federal legislation. Moving on, we have more of our auxiliary gauges here up top, including fuel, temperature, all that type of stuff, battery voltage, and you might have noticed these vents in the center. The other things that this car was optioned with includes air conditioning, which you'll find all of the controls just below the vents. This was a $1,200 option for the Dodge Viper, and this car is equipped with it. Below that, you'll find the premium Chrysler audio system, which can be adjusted down here. We have some more lighting controls, as well as our cigarette lighter and our ashtray, glove box, sun visors. There's some more speakers actually between the seats here, and of course, the rear view mirror. And look at this thing. It's pretty simple and straightforward, but definitely a driver's car. All of the gauges, even in the center, are slightly kiltered towards the driver to make it that much easier to see. And this car feels fast just sitting in the driver's seat. You also have that lockout ignition for the key on the side here, but very cool sitting in the seat of the Dodge Viper. So what's it like to drive the Dodge Viper? Well, while it's true they tried to make the car a bit more streetable, this thing is not domesticated. Far from it, in fact. No ABS, no traction control, and no stability control. So this thing is quite rowdy and a lot of fun to drive. Not to mention the open top experience, the sound of the V10, and you get to work a 6-speed manual transmission. I mean, this car is so much fun to drive. As I said earlier, the only way to really get yourself into a Dodge Viper experience is by getting a Dodge Viper. I mean, these cars offer something that is just so unique and special. It's like a modern interpretation of a Shelby Cobra. Just as raw, just as powerful, in fact, more powerful than the Shelby Cobras. And it's just a very, very special car. You know, this thing can be a handful to drive, but you still get power brakes and power steering, which makes it a little bit easier. But boy, if you go for a hard drive, this thing is a ton of fun to drive and very rewarding. So there you have it. That is a quick look at this 1996 Dodge Viper RT10, a raw, unfiltered 8-liter V10 roadster with a 6-speed manual transmission. I mean, there is nothing like this car on sale today and will probably never ever be again. I mean, the only way to really get the Dodge Viper experience is by owning a Dodge Viper. And this particular car has such a cool history, being previously owned by the president of the Dodge Viper Club of America up until 2022, where it was acquired by its current owner. That also means you get all sorts of cool memorabilia included in the sale, not to mention the factory optioned body color hardtop. You get all the rain covers, the tonneau covers, a Viper bra, and even a Viper car cover, and a bunch of other items that are all included, which is incredibly cool. This car has just over 19,000 original miles and was recently serviced by Viper guru Eddie Martin of Manheim Motorsports, the folks also responsible for maintaining the Viper race cars, and now it's heading up for auction on Bring a Trailer, where it will be selling with no reserve as offered from Cascio Motors. With that, that's also the end of the video. If you enjoyed it and could leave me a thumbs up, I'd really appreciate it. Consider getting subscribed for more content like this in the future. And of course, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.